It's great to be here. I am coming to you from the intergalactic headquarters of Gard International in Portland, Oregon. We are in probably one of the most unique times of our lives. I believe right now there's probably more stress existing on the planet, in Portland, in any other place in the United States that we've ever seen before. And we've got to be able to deal with the situational stress that comes in. I don't do what you do, but I've been own my own business for 25 years, and I compete against 2,000 other speakers all over the planet for every single job. What I've had to do is I've had to adapt and overcome. I've had to do all the things that you do to grow, but more than anything else, I've learned that resilience is what can separate you from those that are successful and those that are not successful. If every little thing bothers you, what happens is eventually you'll burn out, and we want you to be able to burn bright. That you need to be able to see the things that happen with stress and find ways around them. And I use what's called a comic vision, about how we learn to see the situational stress and about how we accept how it can affect us. Last year at this time, I was coming from an event in Denver, Colorado, and on my way out the airport, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's just solid traffic. And the taxi driver is hitting his hands on the dash and yelling. And I said, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "It's traffic, it's traffic." And I said, "How long have you been doing this?" And he said, "I've been doing it 30 years. And I said, "How long in Denver?" 30 years. And I said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but it's going to be like this again tomorrow and probably the next day." The bottom line is that if you can't deal with traffic, you shouldn't probably be a professional driver. And the same works across the board with everything else, is that situational stress factors are going to be out there. How you choose to deal with them is up to you. We can't change the things that happen to us or around us. We change our perception of them. And that when stressful things happen, we learn to act and not react to those stressful things. So in our time today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about humor and stress. We're going to talk about humor and creativity. We're going to talk about connecting with customers, and also a little bit about the kindness advantage, a new book that I've got coming out. And to get on the path to this is really not hard. As Britney Spears said, it's not rocket surgery. It just takes a conscious choice to get past the stressors. So the first thing is this: when you run into something stressful, instead of getting angry, you put your hand right here like this, and you say bummer and do this. Everybody try it with me. Ready? Bummer and do this. One more time. Bummer and do this. What you're doing is the thing that's happening is stressful. You're recognizing it and you're letting it go. And every time I do it, I think about George Carlin when he said bummer years ago. And that adds to my enjoyment and makes me smile. When something good happens, we do this. Woohoo! Try that. Woohoo! Sometimes you just do it in your mind. What we have to do is, though, celebrate every single win that's out there and be able to have more fun and not just let the negative things bother us. What we'll do is, the more we do this, the easier it becomes. And I think that my buddy here, I've got a little kitty cat here that keeps wanting to visit. My little buddy, come on, buddy. I love my little buddy there, but he's coming to visit. Just like that, you can't make up the real life stuff that happens every day. Tuxedo's going to come and visit. So, bummer when things get stressful, just as if the cat visits. Woohoo when you're successful, and celebrate those moments. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And then you recognize that we all smile and laugh in the same language. It unites us. It brings us together. It creates a common bond when nothing else will work. And people seek laughter and connectivity. Now, some of you are visual people. Some of you are audio people. Some of you can tell stories. Some of you can't tell stories. Almost everybody has an emphasis on whether they like visual humor or whether they like storytelling or jokes. You can connect with your customers so stronger if you have funny stories and things like that can help them remember you. But you can also have funny items that they can use back at home, in their offices or whatever. I call these seat savers. This is just melted ice cream spoon. It's all from fake foods, but I send these to customers and I tell them to save me a seat at their next virtual meeting. It makes them laugh. They put it on their desk, and years from now, it'll still be there. My name's on the back of it. And this is an example of using humor as a business skill to market ourselves. This is my card. A lot of you have Lucky have very unique business cards. My very first card was a picture of my pride and joy. It's a picture of my pride and joy right there. And I would give that to customers. Now, about probably 60% of them got it. Not all of them got it, but a lot of them got it. And those that did wanted to have more. So I came up with this. This is my business card today. On the front, it says, "This is a major credit card." That's my phone number, 1-800-865-9939. On the back, it says, "Some other form of identification," and my website's right there. The way these came about is when I go to check into hotels when I travel, people, I check in and they'd say, "Hi, what's your name?" I'd say, "It's Tim Gard." They'd say, "You have a reservation?" "Yes, I do." And then they'd say, "You have some form of identification or some other form of identification?" I got asked all the time. So I had these made up. Check into a hotel the first time. "Hi, Tim Gard checking in. What's your name?" "Still Tim Gard." "Do you have a reservation?" "Yes, I do." And this young man goes, "And how would you like to make," or he says, looks at me and he goes, "Do you have a major credit card?" And I said, "I do." And I hand it to him, and he takes the card and he looks at it. He doesn't know what to do, and he's all alone. It's 1:00 in the morning. He's all alone. He's been trained that when you don't know what to do, you ask for help. And so he's looking at this card. He's looking around. It's like he's showing it to other people that aren't there. And he goes, "Sir, I don't know what to do." And I said, "If it were me," this is just me, "but if it were me, I would ask for some other form of identification." And he said, he looks at me and goes, "You have some other form of identification?" Woo! And I showed it to him. It made him laugh. And he goes, "This is a joke, isn't it?" Yeah. That's what I'm going for, is that I want to connect with that person at the counter. I want to connect with people, and I want to make them laugh. And this works. These are my business cards. It's got my phone number, my website on them. I sell these on my website for $5 for 6 of them. People buy my business card and then show it to others. That's good business, and that's using humor as a skill. About 6 years after I invented it, I'm traveling. I go to check into a property. "Hi, Tim Gard. What's your name?" "Still Tim Gard." Young man looks at me, and I thought he was going to say, "Do you have a major credit card?" And instead he goes, "And how would you like to make payment?" And it threw me for a loop. It was like, no, that's not what you're supposed to ask. And he goes, "What am I supposed to ask?" I said, "I can't tell you, or it's just not funny. You just have to ask it." And he goes, "Well, I don't know what to say." And I said, "You missed out on a lot of fun, buddy, a lot of fun." So I wrote some new material. That's what I do. I'm always writing new material. And a couple weeks later, I check in a hotel. "Hi, Tim Gard checking in. What's your name?" "Tim Gard." And he looks at me and he goes, "And how would you like to make payment?" Well, now I'm ready. And I said, "I would like to make payment with tales of glory and adventure. Gather your staff and I will tell you a tale to amaze and amuse you. Gather them now and the tale will follow." And this poor kid didn't know what to do. And he looks at this other woman and he goes, "We don't accept tales of adventure, do we?" I said, "Then with soybeans. In my bag, I have soybeans for everybody. Soybeans, soybeans." He said, "You have a major credit card?" "Oh, yeah." This is what anybody can do if you just choose to see things differently and use humor as a skill. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about problem solving. I hear all the time that people are looking for creative employees, that they want people that are creative in problem solving. As realtors, you are solving problems all the time. And the ability to connect ideas that aren't normally associated with one another is at the height of creativity. Humor is just combining ideas that aren't associated normally. And this helps us be more creative to come up with solutions. Again, traveling, I went to Australia a couple times last year and traveled through Sydney. And when I got to Sydney, I usually travel, I have 2 giant suitcases like this right here, 2 gigantic bags just like this. One of them had my books in it. The other one had my clothes and everything. Went to Sydney, did the show, and then went to go out to the Gold Coast and connected in this little tiny airline, little commuter line to the Gold Coast. And the gentleman who checked me in goes, "Mr. Gard," he says, "your first bag on our airline flies free. Your second bag," which is identical size to this, "second bag is based on weight." And he weighs it. It weighs so many kilos. And I said, "How much is it going to cost?" And he goes, "It's going to cost you an additional $200. And that's a what? That's a bummer. That's a bummer. And I said, "There's got to be something else we can do." And he said, "No." He says, "You have 2 options. You either leave the bag here and we destroy it, or you pay me $200 and take it with you." And I thought to myself again, humor's combining ideas not normally associated. How can I solve this? And I asked him, "What's a one-way ticket cost to the Gold Coast from Sydney?" And he said, "They're on sale for $98. And I said, "Sell me another one of those." He said, what do you mean? I said, well, with this first ticket, this bag flies free. With the second ticket, the other bag flies free. I just saved $102. And it made him mad. And he hands me the tickets, the two tickets, and I'm in 16A and 23B. And I looked at him and I said, can't I sit together? And he goes, maybe somebody will move. And I said, you want me to ask somebody to move so I can be with myself? And he finally got it. He laughed and he moved me. But the bottom line is, this happens all the time if you travel. As a realtor, you're running into problems just like this. Solve them with humor. Here's another one. People used to take my bag by mistake from the turnstile, so I had this sign put on my bag that says, this is not your bag. Many bags look alike. This isn't your bag because this bag belongs to Tim Gard. Does it work every time? No. In Phoenix, Arizona, going through the turnstile there, there's a guy next to me. My bag comes out of the little carousel there. This young man looks over and grabs the handle of it. And I said, come on. And he reads the sign and laughs and goes, this looks just like my bag except for the sign. And I said, knock yourself out. You know, all the time when we do this, we can get angry about this, or you can actually stop and step back and learn to solve the problem. I have to tell you one more. I've traveled with these little guys for years. These are little itty bitty chickens. They're just tiny. I don't know why they're so funny, but they are little itty bitty chickens. And I usually give these to people when I travel as a way of connecting. I was at a hotel in Denver, and I go to check in. And when I checked in, the young man behind the counter, the young lady behind the counter looked at me and said, "Sir, did you just add an extra night to your stay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm speaking at a conference here for 2 nights, and I added an extra spa night. I'm recently married. My wife, Sophia, loves spa days. So I added a spa night to the stay." And she said, "Well, sir, when you rebooked that extra night, it recategorized the entire reservation. So instead of costing you $150 per night, now it's $250 per night for all 3 nights." And I said, "What? Bummer." And I didn't know what to do. And I said, "It's got to be something we can do." She goes, "There's nothing we can do." And I reached in my pocket. I was just going to give her a couple itty bitty chickens. And she got very angry. She said, "Sir, you can't bribe me," thinking I'm going to give her money. And I said, "What?" I said, I'm not trying to give you money. And she got very indignant. And I said, "Now, before you say anything else, you might just want to see what I have." And I just kind of slid them real close, real slow across the tabletop. And I turned my hand over, and she saw those little itty bitty chickens. And she wanted them really badly. And she goes, "Sir, you can't." And I said, "Now, before you say another word, let me just sweeten the pot." And I just put one more up there. I ended up getting the room for $80 a night, their employee rate, all because of little itty bitty chickens and about how we can connect. I went down the next day as I was walking by to go to the event, and by golly, she had them made into earrings. So I had to give her a couple more. So all of these things like this, these connectors work not just for you, but for the other people around you. They're always changing the rules, aren't they? There's always new policy and new rules out there. This is mental floss. When you get really stressed out and you're sitting at your desk and things keep changing, you can put this on, and what you do is you floss out all the old rules, and just in doing this, it'll make you laugh. These things like this, there's so many things that you can do, but more than anything else, you need to learn to find the funny where other people can't see it. And for me, you know, my background, I have a very unusual history of work. I was in the Navy, served on board the USS Midway, CVA 41. You see those videos of them evacuating Vietnam and pushing helicopters over the side to make room for more people. I was there then, and I mean, we took the people off first before we pushed the helicopters over, but very stressful time. I've been in war zones. I've served in extreme circumstances. I left there, went back to college. I got a job in human services as an eligibility caseworker. My job was to determine welfare benefits. People would come to me, tell me their circumstances, and I had to determine who got food and who didn't get food, who got medical assistance and who didn't. Most stressful job of my life. And I would come home at night just drained. It seemed like the harder I worked, the more stress I had. And I found that I had to find a way to let the stress go and find a way also to be able to not laugh at people, but as C.W. Metcalf said, laugh not with ridicule, but with objectivity and acceptance of self, and start getting past the stress to be able to do my job. That if I made a mistake, kids could go hungry. That's an incredible incentive to get really good at what you do. And that's when I started finding how humor could help. My ability to laugh at myself could help me reduce the stress. I later became a fraud investigator. I was Montana's first eligibility investigator. I got to go out and investigate welfare fraud, and again, very dangerous job. We would arrest people. Very few people went to jail, however. And I remember then one of my other investigators asked me, he said, Tim, how do you deal with this when we arrest people, but very few people go to jail? And I told him, I had these glasses made. I took 2 forks and I welded them together. And I said, if you put these on and you turn your head sideways, you can see what somebody looks like behind bars just one time. And so when I was sitting at my desk as an investigator, if somebody was telling me a story, all I had to do was look at those, and inside, it helped me deal with it. I wouldn't laugh, but it helped me deal with the stress so that I could learn to balance it out. Now, COVID-19 comes along, changes everything, doesn't it? You know, now we're not in offices all the time, but you still need to break. These are called, this is new, these are don't bug me glasses. You can get these, you put these on when you're home and you want the kids or your husband or wife to leave you alone. These are don't bug me glasses. You can put these on. People will leave you alone. I guarantee it. And they really are nothing but fun. These things, all of these things like this help us deal with the stress. So I told you, caseworker, investigator. I was then hired by USDA Food and Nutrition Service as a management analyst to look at how the food stamp program was administered in Colorado, Utah, North Dakota, and Montana. And during that job, I saw these programs from different levels, but I found that everybody across the board are still suffering from the same thing. That resilience is, in fact, something that can help you no matter what you do, where you work, what level in the food chain you are. It can help you get better. And I think more than anything else, I started picking up little mannerisms and things that help me learn to see things differently. It's like at the beginning of every day, I would come in, and as I walked in, I would literally leave home at home, and when I left work, I'd leave work at work. And it's harder now, I understand, and we all have home offices, but I can still do that even with my home office. There are different things that you can do. It's like when I want to stop and take a break, I need a hard stop for just a few minutes to refresh and renew. I look at it the way gymnasts look at the end of their routine. You know, it's like you're sitting down somewhere, you're going to take a break, or you're done for the day. You just sit down and you look at the clock, 5 o'clock, done for the day, do your dismount. And then you turn around and you stay, and you leave it there. When I go into work, I did a habit of trying to leave home at home. And now I recommend that you do things like have a little sign up that says at home that mom or dad is at work, you know, come back in 5 minutes. Or if I'm on the phone, please don't interrupt me. Things that can help you do your job without a whole bunch of internet interruptions. The reason this is critically important is that we have to be what I call in the now, very, very present. You have to be present for your family. You have to be present for your customers. You have to be present attending training, all of these things, but it's being present. One of the biggest hindrances to that are these cell phones. These cell phones have changed our planet forever. This one is from 1994. I actually got this 1994. I like to put it in my pocket, and I'll go into Best Buy, and I'll walk in there, can I help you, sir? And I say, I'm looking for that new iPhone. And they'll say, well, what do you have now? And I'll take this out, and I'll say, well, it's analog. It never fails to get a laugh. But these cell phones have made people incredibly rude, don't you think? You shouldn't have to tell people to not talk on them on the toilet. I mean, I don't want to overshare, but I don't think you should have to tell people that. I was on a trip here last year, was traveling through Vancouver, British Columbia, and I had an operation on my knee, and I'm putting on a knee brace. I go into the lavatory, the loo, as they say, go to put my knee brace on, and I hear this voice next to me go, hello. You know, and I'm a polite guy, you know, I'm, hello. And then I hear him go, I'm in Vancouver. And it's like, Me too. But I think the most stressful thing, not the phones, it's the Bluetooth devices. And almost every one of you out there have them. They're amazing time savers. They're a lot more safe if you're going to be driving or doing anything, but they are very irritating. At the airport with these Bluetooth, I can't tell who's in a meeting and who's mentally ill. And I'm not making fun of mentally ill people. I'm talking about these folks that walk around with their Bluetooth on, talking to themselves. They don't care who listens. They don't care who else hears. But they're out there walking around, hi, my plane is late. I'll be home by 6. Hey, and they talk really loud. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I was watching this guy walking around. He's talking real loud. He goes, yeah, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. No, not by Tuesday. No, yeah, I can't ship that order by Tuesday. And he's walking back and forth in front of me. Yeah, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. No, yeah. And I'm sitting there reading my book, and he walks over and he sits right next to me. He sits right next to me. I'm sitting right here. He sits right next to me. Now, there's seats all around us. There are seats. There's 10 seats this way, 10 seats. There's people all over. And he's going, yeah, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. And I'm not angry. I'm fascinated. And I look over at him, and I thought, say that one more time. Say that one more time. And I hear him go, I don't think we can ship that order by Tuesday. And I said, I need that order by Tuesday. You told me you'd ship that order by Tuesday. You better ship that order by Tuesday. And it's if I came out of thin air, I materialized. He leans back like this, and he goes, sir, I'm not talking to you. Well, the guy on the phone thinks he's still talking to him, and he goes, yeah, I'm talking to you. I said, I'm talking to you. You better ship that order by Tuesday. And he starts picking his stuff up, and I'm going, don't you walk away from me. I will find you by Tuesday. And then I changed chairs before the police came. Now, I'm not talking about telling jokes, though. I want to be really clear about this. Jokes have their place, but jokes almost always have somebody as the butt of the joke. And it's okay to laugh at yourself, but I think you're going to do better telling stories that help make or illustrate your point, or be able to talk about circumstances that help people feel better about maybe the mistakes they made, to be able to laugh at those things. And it's not about telling jokes. Now, I do write jokes because you can learn from it. I read in USA Today that if you write your negative thoughts down and then throw it away, you'll feel better. I feel better, but I missed my iPad. Okay? I didn't say it was a good joke. I write jokes as an exercise in creativity, not to be able telling them all the time, but about putting things together and training our brain. And this is what this is about today. It's about not just doing this once or twice. It's about consistently finding ways of dealing with the situational stress with humor and getting past it. And we already talked about laughing at yourself. As a speaker, we have different lives. I have to be honest with you. You have different lives. For a long time, my business was traveling from place to place. Last year, I had one of my most busy years traveling. My virtual business was down, but my travel business was way up. This year, my traveling business is way down, but my virtual business is way up. But I've learned part of the things that's helped me deal with it is the ability to laugh at myself. And again, to laugh not with ridicule, but with objectivity and acceptance of self. And when you're able to do that, you can have really more fun. And I think that's a key point, is having fun. So rule number 1 is have fun. Say it. Have fun. Now, babies don't need to learn to laugh, but adults need to be reminded. And the more we can do it for ourselves and others, we refresh and renew ourselves, and we get better and better about what we do. As I went through my day, as I go through my day, even today, I'm always looking at the incongruities that are going on around us. When COVID-19 first started, it was funny. We ran out of toilet paper and all these different products. And I'll never forget, after the first month, this truck's pulling in with new toilet paper, and people are greeting them, yay, cheering them like they're Bono or something. Is that our lives are changing so much that we get so focused into the negative, we don't see the funny. About 20 years ago, my father was in the hospital in Montana, and some of you have been up to Montana. I'm from Kalispell, Montana, little town up in northwest Montana. But my parents were in Helena, Montana, and my dad had open heart surgery, and he'd been in the hospital a long time, and I went to the hospital there, and I went in, was standing at the front door, and very stressful thing. I didn't know if we'd lose my dad, and he did survive. So, I mean, I don't want to ruin the story, but I walk up, and this hospital's been there for years, but it wasn't until I finally took a step back and looked at it that I really saw it. It's called St. Peter's Hospital. That's really the name, St. Peter's Hospital. And I thought to myself, St. Peter's? I said, what, are they owned by Stephen King? You know, have a little cemetery out in back. St. Peter's is not the name for a good hospital. And I remember I went in and told my dad the joke, and he said, son, you could have probably held on to that one for a little while more. But again, have fun. Say it. Have fun. Second thing is do it for yourself. Say, for myself. For myself. As the stressful things happen, we have to consciously not get angry. These card keys like this, they've changed the hotel industry. You know, it used to be, we always had a whole drawer full of keys we were going to send back to some hotel. When they got these card keys, it eliminated that, but it also created a whole list of problems, because when these work, they're great. When they don't, they are a problem of biblical proportions. I checked in the Grand at the, was in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it's one of the biggest hotels there, the MGM Grand. Checked in at about 1 o'clock in the morning and walked to my room. Now, those of you who've been there, how far did I walk? I mean, I walked and walked and walked and walked. And I forgot where I was going. I'd been gone so long. And I finally get to the door. I put the key in. There's a little arrow here. I put the key in, take the key out. The little light turns green on the door. I turn the handle, and the door won't open. So what do you do? What do you do? Do it again. Put the key in, take the key out, jiggle the handle, doesn't work. Put the key in, light turns, take the key out, light turns green, turn the handle, doesn't open. So I thought, try it the other way. Put the key in, light doesn't turn green, take it out. Put it upside down. I tried every combination there was, and I finally remembered that sometimes you're supposed to do this. And I don't know why this works. I don't know the physics, but I'm willing to do it because I don't want to go back to the front desk. And I tried again, all the little formations, and finally I thought, I looked to see if I'm in the right room, the right floor, tower, genus, phylum, species, order, and I walk all the way back to the front desk. And as I'm standing there, the young lady who actually waited on me saw me and waved me over, and she goes, is there a problem? And I said, ma'am, my card key won't work. And what she said astounded me. She automatically assumed it was a user error. And she said to me, she goes, may I see your card? And I certainly handed it to her. She reaches under the counter and pulls out a small miniature model of the door in the hotel that had a functional door that opened and a full-size key in it to teach people how to use it. And she goes, now watch what I do. And I said, certainly. And obviously wasn't paying enough attention. She goes, sir, this is very important. And I said, ma'am, no one wants in that room more than I do right now. And so she gets my eye contact. She puts the little key in the little model. The little light turns green, takes it out, and opens the little door. And I said, that's incredible. Do it again. Do it again. And so she does. And she goes, well, I don't know why this would work. She goes, maybe you put it next to an eel skin wallet. I thought, an eel skin wallet? Where? I mean, I've been gone a long time. I could have lost my wallet, but no, it's not next to an eel skin wallet. And so she goes, hands it back to me, goes, why don't you show me how you were doing it? And I said, yeah, I was just walking around the hallway doing this, you know. I still don't know why it wasn't work. And she goes, no, it goes in real slow like this. And right about this time, this other guy walks up and he goes, my card key won't work. And I said, you got an eel skin wallet? And he laughed. All right. So all of the things that we're talking about, again, anybody can do this. Let me show you one more here. This is my luggage. A lot of you have black roller bags like mine. Mine is the only one that has orange chicken feet sticking out of it. The reason this came about was I would go to put my bag in the overhead with the wheels in, and if it didn't fit, I would have to put my bag sideways. People would then come behind me, move my bag around so they had more room to put their bag in, and then the bin wouldn't close, and I'd have to check my bag. Since I put the chicken feet in there, it doesn't happen anymore. And there's some answers. I mean, people actually will grab the handle, get right about here, and just put it back. It's just incredible. But one of the funniest things, I'm at the airport in Denver, going through TSA. Young man looks at me and he says, may I look in your bag? And I thought, what are my options here? Am I going to say, oh, no, don't look in there. Scary thing. But this young man reached in, took the rubber chicken out of my bag, and it's almost as if he sees them all the time. He takes it out and he looks at it and he starts to frisk it, And he gets right, I mean, even the beak and the little crest here, and he gets right about here, and I have tears coming down my face. And he just keeps searching it. And it got right about here, and he does the flip, as if it's one of their moves they practice. And now I'm laughing out loud. And he goes right down to the toenails and looks at me and goes, "It's clear." I didn't even know what to say. But I laugh about that every single time I go through security. Now, did I do this when 1 million chickens died when I went in Hong Kong, and just before I was there, 1 million chickens had gotten killed, one of the flu epidemics that they had to stop with. So I think there's a choice there. Humor isn't done all the time. It's something we do selectively to either release stress, overcome stress, or not carry around the stress with us. The best way to deal with stress, number one tip I'll give you today is this. You need to be really good at what you do. The better you are at doing what you do, at being realtors, the less stress you'll run into. That as you hear other people solve problems, that you consciously take advantage of that and write that stuff down and pay attention. You go to training that you're just like what you're doing here. That will cut your learning curve and make you better about what you do. So rule number one is have fun. Say it again, have fun. Number two is do it first for yourself. Say, for myself, for myself. The third thing is share it. I think that we share this with our customers, with our families, with our colleagues, that we have to help each other get through these really stressful times. I think that what we need to do is consciously do this, not by accident, but on purpose. Like the itty bitty chickens that are there, or the seat savers, all of these things that are out there, that when something stressful happens, we try to find humorous solutions. This is a cubicle crab. For those of you that are still going into the office, I used to keep this cubicle crab on my desk. And when people that worked around me were crabby, I'd say to them, "Are we being a little crabby today?" And it actually went to different people in the office who are having really crabby, very tough days. And again, instead of getting angry, people would actually laugh. You can learn to play the nose flute. This is a nose flute. You can get them at any music store. These are totally useless except for fun. You play it by blowing through your nose. You can play almost any song on them. Church Fire, we can do that. These are nothing but fun. You do this when you're stressed out as a conscious attempt of not getting angry and not letting it stack up. A lot of people take stress and they stack them one on top of another until they get such a load they don't know how to deal with it. People are just overwhelmed with the stress and they don't even know what to say to people. These are the people you pass in the hallway and it's like, "Yeah, you're doing okay." The phone rang. They're angry about literally everything. Not everything is funny. Humor is not always appropriate. I will agree with that. I believe that we never use humor to diminish anyone. We don't use it to put people down. Again, laugh at yourself, but don't put other people down or diminish them. Have fun. And the more things that you can find to offset the stress, I think that's a bonus. I had this coloring book made. These are on my website. It's just pictures of me, different parts of my program. And when I get on the plane, I would color. And I discovered that people leave me alone. When you're coloring on an airplane, people will leave you alone. And if you're coloring pictures of yourself, like doing a dismount, it even works better. When I get asked a lot during my seminars, they'll say, "Well, did funny things happen when you worked for the federal government?" Oh, yeah, very funny things. I worked for a guy that used to walk out every day. We had to wear suits to work. We never saw the public, but we had to actually wear suits. And my boss, Ralph, would walk out, and really good man, but he had this irritating habit. Every day he'd walk out and he'd say to us, "Good morning, is your head screwed on tight today?" He would ask you if your head was screwed on tight today, every single day. So the first time I saw him, he came over, "Hey, Gard, welcome to the team. Is your head screwed on tight today?" And it made me laugh. Second time, smile, smile. 4 years later, oh my goodness, you'd see him coming, it's like, he's going to say it again. And so I got one of these I got one of these watch winders for everybody. Right here. It's just a little watch winder. And he walked up to my desk and he goes, "Morning, Gard." And I did this. Postman, sir, good thing you were here. This little thing was the difference between a bummer and a woohoo. And the funniest thing is, some of the people in my office never figured out how to use this. They see him coming, and it's like wow. And to me, it was almost as good. All right. So you can look and find humor at the most bizarre things. I think, as we share it, you need to find the things that your coworkers, your peers, that they find stressful too. I think I was with the state and with the federal government, the regulations changed all the time. And we'd hear things like, it's our policy. And you have to say things like that. This is our policy. Our policy is to do this and that. Have positive policies that connect with customers. Don't have negative policies that stop customer service and are just used as a stopgap device. When I was with the government, James Bourne said, when you do something stupid long enough, it usually becomes policy. We have policies that there not even be anything written. I call that policy folklore. They're for things that go on that there's no written rule, but that's just the way you've always done it. When you start doing that, it's a barrier to customer service. And if you start paying attention to how often you say it, you'll get better at customer connection. This is my policy manual. On the front of the policy manual, it says on the front, my policy manual, I grant you the power to serve me. It's about the size of a passport. On the back of it, where my picture is, you can actually put your picture over this, and it just says me. So if somebody's wondering about policies, you can just show them your picture. It just says me, and this is the greatest credential in the world. And there's a lot of different sections to it. I remember when I first got this, I checked into a hotel, and the young man behind the counter looked at me and he said, "Sir, this is by the way is in Singapore." And I checked in and he goes, "Sir," he said, "all we have left are smoking rooms." And I said to him, I just tried to kid with him. I said, I don't have any cigarettes, can't help you, sorry. And I thought he'd laugh, but he did not. And I said, "I reserve a non-smoking room." And he said, "Well, we will give you the room, but I cannot guarantee smoking preference." And I said, "Well, do you have any non-smoking suites?" "Yes, sir, we do, but they're $150 more per night." Now, I know for a fact I can't pass that cost on to my customer. So I said, "Can you upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no additional cost since you gave away my non-smoking room?" And he said, "No, our policy is we don't upgrade based on smoking preference," and then thought it would end there. And so I opened up my policy manual, page 9, and I read to him, "If I request to reserve a non-smoking room at any hotel on that property that gives my non-smoking room away to another guest prior to my arrival, then said hotel is required by law to upgrade me to a non-smoking suite at no additional cost, no exceptions." And I handed it to him, and he showed the other clerk, and he goes, "It's right there." He's not kidding. It's right there. And he goes, "I don't know what to do." And he said, "You need to talk to the manager." So I opened up my policy book. I actually address talking with managers about my policy in 3000.1, and I read to him that once I verbalize my policy to any employee at any level, I'm then forbidden by policy to repeat said policy verbally in writing to anyone else, no exceptions. I got put in the presidential suite that night, the non-smoking presidential suite that night, and they copied this, had me initial it, and that's all it took. Now, if somebody tells you no, you can actually turn right to yes, or you even have no if they keep saying yes. If you have children, this is the best one for children. This is page 20. It just says, "Because I say so," over and over and over. And if you want to win an argument today, this is really all you need. You just need, charts and graphs. If you have charts and graphs, you can literally win any argument at any given time. These are charts and graphs in the back of the book. And I'll tell people, do you want me to be satisfied? Yes, I do. Well, if I don't get my way, I may be only 10% satisfied. If I get my way, I could be up to 100% satisfied, which in the quarterly chart over here is clearly best for me. And I've actually had people look at me and go, "Well, that makes sense, Mr. Gard." I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I don't want anyone who's empowered to say yes to have to say no to me. And sometimes we've got to give people a little bit of a shake to get them to pay attention and to listen what we're talking about. Humor helps us do that. And it's not something, I've never had anybody really lose it. I do think that we learn how and when to do it. If somebody's yelling and screaming angry, that's not the time to use it. Then I want to switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk to you about kindness. There's a lot of talk right now about policy. The people are talking about, I can't do this, I can't do that, whatever it is. I want to talk about kindness. This ability to connect with people by going above and beyond, and in your realtor practice, that you are in fact working to be kind to people. That you don't set up policies that create your employees to be unkind. That on United Airlines, that customer service rep that dragged that man off that airplane. When they did that, he was enforcing United Airlines at the time. He was doing what they told him to do. They created a policy that made him unkind and just about destroyed his life and cost United Airlines $500 million in lost revenues. One act of kindness, one act of unkindness can be devastating. My father would only buy Chevys. And it wasn't until just before he passed away that I discovered he did that because when he was about 22 years old, he couldn't get a loan on a car, and a Chevy dealership made a special exception and loaned him money and enabled him to get a car, and he bought Chevys ever since. Kindness creates generational customer loyalty. I am not a realtor, but I bought properties in Montana, in Colorado, in Oregon, and I have realtors there that I will only deal with. They have generated that customer loyalty to me. And this is what you're looking to do. And it's done by connecting with them with humor, and it's done with doing acts of kindness with help them remember you. Customer service is transactional. Customer kindness is transformational. And it's not hard. More than anything else, when you leave here, though, I want you to be able to recover from the stressors that are going on. Stressors occur all the time, and this resilience, this ability to laugh at yourself, laugh at the things around you, can help you be more resilient. A couple of years ago, I fell off a stage in Bismarck, North Dakota, and I don't want to ruin the story for you, because I survived. But when I was standing on the stage, there's probably 500 people in the audience. The stage had 4 steps over here. There were 3 steps over here. The first.
MacBook can hear me.
Oh, hello. Hope I can hear you. There's 4 steps over here. There's 3 steps over here. And the reason why there were only 3 steps was they'd broken the first step off, sent it in to be repaired, and didn't tell me. So instead of alerting me to this, the person that was the banquet captain points over here and just mouths the words, points over here and then points over here and goes, "Be careful." Now, if he would have done this, everything would have been okay. If he had pointed over here and done this, and then pointed over here and done this, this wouldn't have happened. But he didn't. So over here, usually I give free stuff away in my programs. I go running over here. I go to give some free stuff away, and my foot comes down to where my brain had been programmed to believe that a step exists. Now, gravity isn't just a good idea. It's the law.
I can't hear
this woman that hired me at about Mach 6. I'm going to crush her like a bug. And this is what she does to save her life. She puts her hands up like this. And my foot hit the step. I went straight down. I sprang up, went over her, landed on my side, almost knocked me unconscious. What's the audience doing? Laughing hysterically. Now, I couldn't replicate this again in a million years if I tried to. But as I'm laying there, suddenly they go silent. And in the silence, I said, "And now I'll take questions from the floor." And they lost it again. Now, with this, it was that I planned something like this may happen. 2 weeks before this, I'd been on stage and I watched the speaker walk backwards and fall through a stage with a hole in the stage. And myself and another speaker wrote down our best lines if it happened. And mine was, "It's just a stage I'm going through." So I laid on the floor, look up, and I go, "It's just a stage I'm going through." And now I'll take questions from the floor. All of these things pop into your mind, but you need to have something ready when something like this happens. And so his was, "It's just a stage I'm going through," and mine was, "And now I'll take questions from the floor." And so when it happened, I was ready. That we do things to insulate ourselves and to stay prepared. So here's what I want you to do. Have fun. Say it. Have fun. Rule number 2, do it first for who? yourself. And the third thing is share it. Say it. Share it. When bad things happen, you're going to do this. Bummer, bummer. And when good things happen, you're going to woohoo, woohoo. This is what we do. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, state your name. State your name. Promise to use my comic vision every day. I'll have fun. I'll use humor for myself. And I'll share it. Then do the high sign like this. This is who we are. We are resilient. And you can be even more resilient. Laugh at the things you can. Be serious about the things you have to. Have more fun. This is Tim Gard. I hope to hear from you sometime. Tim@timgard.com or www.timgard.com. Laughter becomes you if you let it. Take care out there. Have a great conference. Have a lot of fun.